Ciao, friends. This is Shelley from Shelley Skincare. I've got Cassie Belcher on the chat here today,
Hello.
and we are going to talk with you about DIY. Should you color your hair, and if so, how do we do that at home while we're sheltering in place? Because I sent out a survey to all my clients, and they said, "Oh my gosh, what do we do? We're going to need bang trims. We're going to need to do our hair color, like our waxing." So I've got lots of videos that I've done, and I have more videos to come. In fact, Cassie's going to meet with us next week, and we're going to go over how to trim your bangs. And then we're going to do, once we get all crazy, how to braid your hair.
Why not?
Yeah. So Cassie used to be an instructor at an Aveda Institute, and I'll let her explain more about that. But now she's at one of my best friend's salon, and she's one of the top stylists there. It's in San Francisco, downtown, called Atelier Emmanuel, and Salon and de
It's a
Coiffure.
salon de coiffure. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So why don't you tell everybody what your credentials are?
Oh, sure. So I've been a licensed professional for about 6 years, but I started scamming all my friends for prom updos when I was 13. So let's see, about 1996.
Nice.
25 bucks a pop is pretty good in 1996
That is good.
for prom dues. So I've been doing hair off and on for about 20 years. I decided that it was my calling and I should probably do it legally.
Yeah, exactly.
So I attended an Aveda Institute. I worked at the #1 salon in the city in North Carolina that I lived in before I moved to San Francisco. And when I moved to San Francisco, I decided to try my hand at teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I was an educator at the Aveda Institute in downtown San Francisco, sent to Aveda, if any of you have ever been there. I was a mentoring educator. Therefore, I was able to educate students, but also certify master educators. I was one level above master educators. So I was a color coach. So I certified them in hair color and all things Aveda hair color, formulation, applications, thought processes, all of that. So I taught a group of students that predominantly did hair cutting on the floor. So I definitely have a great love for hair cutting, but as an educator, I focus predominantly on hair color.
Nice. Well, we're really lucky to have you. Thank you so much for taking your time to do this with me.
I'm happy to have someone to put makeup on for today.
Well, one of the questions that I have, and I know that a couple of my clients had also asked, what happens to us after we've tried our hand at coloring our own hair? Because there's a lot of different types of chemicals that go into hair color. And for example, I have highlights, lowlights. I've heard rumors that they break my base. They do all these different things to my hair. And then if I go and buy something, when I go back to my stylist, how much is it going to cost me to do a color correction?
It really depends on the salon and on the stylist and their experience, education, all of that. At our salon, color correction started at $150 an hour. We do it per hour because you don't really quite know what you're going to get into and how the hair is going to react when you begin to lift some of this, we'll call it general use color.
Okay.
Color that's meant for a broad audience. So that would be anything that you can get in a box from your drugstore, your Walmart, your CVS, your grocery store, Whole Foods, all of that.
Okay.
So they can be expensive, and they're mostly expensive to help the stylist try to use their time the most wisely and make sure that they're mitigating as much damage as possible while getting you back to where you were or getting you to where you want to go. So
because there can be breakage, right?
Absolutely. Corrective color doesn't always mean you're fixing a mistake. Corrective color means you're lifting out unknown substances in the hair. Corrective color can mean making a major change from dark to light or going from light back to dark. So there's a broad range of what corrective color really means. It doesn't necessarily always mean that something's wrong or a mistake was made. It just means you need the time to make the right decisions. Therefore, we charge it by the hour and call it a corrective color.
Okay. And that price is downtown San Francisco, which is one of the most expensive cities in the country. So maybe in another place, it won't be that much, but it still seems like it's on the higher end of how you're going to spend your money.
I would say it does seem like it's on the higher end. If you were to go and Google around a couple of other hair salons in San Francisco, I would say our prices are still on the very, very low end. What I've seen poking around my professional Instagram is a lot of people are saying their corrections are starting at $300 an hour. So I would say we're probably about half the price
Wow.
of some of the other stylists out there. And a lot of people price it that high because they want to be able to make up for their time because they probably can't double book during these services, or they price them that high to keep the demand for them low because of deficient education or nerves, that sort of thing. So a lot of people who aren't comfortable doing corrective color will also make the price a smidge higher just to keep the demand for those down and keep those types of transformations out of their chair. I wouldn't speak for all stylists, but some do. I welcome and relish corrective color. I think it's super fun. I really enjoy working my brain.
Right.
Because hairdressers are smart. A lot of people might not think we are, but we are very intelligent and we have to think about a lot at all times.
Oh yeah.
So I relish corrective color. I'm not one that shies away from it. I'm not scared of it. So bring it on. Box color your hair. I don't care.
Well, okay, let's see. There is a difference between, like, if you are going to start seeing gray at your root, or there's a difference between whether, like for me, I have a little bit darker hair that's going to come out, not a lot of gray, but I have different shades of blonde, I guess, because my natural color is much darker. And then there's the people that have the fun colors. They've been doing reds and violets and all that, and now all of that, maybe they did over blonde hair. And then there's blonde hair they've done like jet black. And so what are some of the things that people can do without coloring their hair to kind of get by?
Lots and lots of things. I know we were talking a little bit earlier. I think it's super duper funny that I'm going to be the hair color expert on this, and I'm naturally gray.
Well, it's so beautiful. Like,
thank you.
It looks like you've done it on purpose.
I like my hair. I colored my hair for a very long time and just decided it was too much. And you know what? Aging is a gift. Not all of us get to do it. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be gray and I'm going to be proud about it. That doesn't mean to say I don't want to sometimes when I get bored, but it is what it is. So if we talk about all of our different options, because I've had even a couple of my clients reach out and they're bored. And yes, we're bored, or we're reaching for control somewhere. That's why people are like, I want bangs. It's like they've never had bangs in their life, but they decide now it's time to do it.
Right.
It's all of this that we're scrapping for. We've lost control over so much of our lives right now. People are wanting to control a change somehow. So sure, their hair, why not, right? There are a lot of, speaking to the blondes, if you've ever wanted to try a fun fashion color, now is the time to do it. Because you're home, you can take a couple cute selfies, see if it really does speak to you to have purple or pink or blue or green hair, and maybe get it done a little bit more long lasting once all this is over. But there's a fantastic product called Overtone. And it is a highly pigmented conditioner, meaning there's absolutely no damage that can be done. They come in a broad range of fashion colors, but they also come in natural colors. So you can find your dark browns, your cool browns, your warm browns, all of that. So say these blondes who know it's high maintenance and it's a lifestyle and they might not be able to maintain it much if their stream of revenue doesn't come back and maybe they want to be brown again. Overtone's a great way to try some of those things out because they go on, you leave them on for 5 to 10 minutes, they pigment the hair, they condition the hair, but no need for a color correction. It'll just fade afterwards. So I've been telling a lot of my clients to go grab the color they've always wanted to try if they have some dimension in their hair and just slap some overtone on it, see what comes of it. I mean, I could have pink highlights in my gray hair because the white will pick that up a little bit.
How would that affect the band? So I see some people walking around with like a little band. So what does the overtone do to the band compared? Do you still have a band?
A little bit. So it would be like blurring it. So you wouldn't have imagine it this way. If you take a pencil and you draw a line, from far away it looks black. If you take that same line with the eraser and make dots in it, it diffuses the line. It
Okay.
makes it look gray from far away. It softens it. So these overtone colors can deposit a little bit onto that gray hair and kind of soften and blur that line a smidge
Okay.
without permanently coloring the hair.
Okay.
Now, that's not a 100% fix. It will not happen for everyone and every hair type. I would say it would happen more for those with very fine hair
Okay.
than those like me with very, very coarse hair, because my hair cuticle is a lot stronger. It would be very difficult for those pigments to stain or get a little bit inside that cuticle for someone with coarser, stronger hair than someone with maybe more fine, kind of wispy type hair.
Could someone take it with like, I brought my little tool here.
Cute.
Could somebody take the overtone and just kind of do their root touch and then
Sure.
let that sit however many minutes and then rub it all in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It won't give you a full coverage, but it'll make you feel a little better for sure. To that note, skipping into something like a demi-permanent color
Okay.
can also help a lot of people. So going out of those colorful conditioners and moving into a demi-permanent color, meaning it's still going to be a color that you mix two parts together, but demi-permanent does not fully penetrate the hair cuticle, meaning it can blend probably, I'd say, 30 to 50% of the gray, if we're truly just talking about gray hair, but not completely cover it. What's great about using something like a demi-permanent color is it does also fade off over time without that line, the demarcation line, and would allow you to go back to business as usual once you get back into the salon.
Okay. And what types of brands can you find that are demi?
Almost every color line, professional color line, has a demi-permanent line, and I'm not going to be that hairdresser that says don't buy professional color on Amazon, because it's there and you can. But before you do it, I would highly encourage you reaching out to your hairdresser, your stylist, and saying, hey, what color line do you use on me?
Okay.
And have that open, honest conversation with your hairdresser. We're all struggling to find new ways to make this work. And if any of my clients reached out to me and said, hey, Cassie, I really need to do this. Okay, well, let's talk through your options. I have access to all of their hair color formulas, so I could give them a demi-permanent version of it, because Wella, the color line that I use, has almost every shade in one to the other.
Okay.
So we could work that out. They could do that at home. They're not really doing too much damage to their hair with the demi-permanent. And like I said, back to business as usual, but I could walk them through what colors they need, what activators they need, and what tools they would need, which is basically just this: one clip, a bowl, and a brush.
Okay.
To get that on there. You'd probably need a partner to help you with the back if you really care about that. But demi-permanent, I think, is the safest and will give you a little bit more coverage than those tinted conditioners would.
Oh, and just to go back to the tools, so on my website, shelleyskincare.com, I have set up something called the storefront, Amazon storefront, and I created all these lists. So if you're going to do your hair color or you want to prepare yourself for the bang trim class that Cassie's going to give us, you'll want to go onto those lists and buy the different things. I put a bunch of stuff that I think they're all different price ranges, different brands, but most importantly, what I was looking for was things that are in stock, because that really narrowed down my search a lot. So hopefully they're all still there.
If you have some sort of thin paintbrush and a cereal bowl and a fork, you can make it work, because you do have to mix one to the other and make sure it's all mixed in together. But I mean, we're creative individuals. We can make it work. But I always keep a little bowl and brush and things like that around the house because I'm a hairdresser. But you can work it out.
Of a glass cereal bowl?
Sure.
But not like ceramic, right?
Oh, it's fine. The only thing you cannot mix hair color in is a metal bowl, because metal will make the color oxidize, meaning the oxygen molecules will release too quickly.
Okay.
So no metal bowls, ceramic, porcelain, plastic, all those are good to go.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And then I think one time we were talking about sprays. Are
Oh,
there
sure.
some sprays?
Yeah, Bumble and Bumble makes a great one. They're just, there's not a wide range of pigment though. You get one brown, one black, one red, one blonde,
Okay.
but you can just, spray them down your stripe,
Okay.
maybe spray them at your hairline, just like you would use a dry shampoo. They're just
Okay.
pigmented. I know a lot of people in my chair that maybe would like to get their hair done every 3 weeks, but like to stretch it to every 6.
Okay.
They use those sprays just to get through the day, and they wash very cleanly out of the hair. Bumble and Bumble makes a great one. Wella, the color line that I work with, makes these little shadows. So it's like
Oh,
this cute little compact that has a little
okay.
brush, and you just paint it on.
Nice.
And you can also use it for your eyebrows later, so they match. But they come in, gosh, I think 5 or 6 different shades.
Okay. And
And
you
of
could
course,
probably like mix them up potentially
yeah,
if you
maybe
needed.
a little bit. I've seen several hairdressers out there using different pigmented mascaras.
Oh.
Some
Oh.
deeper auburn redheads are using lipsticks
Okay.
when their hair's pulled back and they have that line where clearly they're not actual redheads. They just
Right.
use that lipstick and then take a clean mascara wand and blend it all into the hairline. So we're clever. We're clever people and we can
Oh
figure
yeah.
this out.
That's
So there are
so smart. I'm like,
tons and tons of ways to do this.
okay.
If I could like defer anyone from doing anything, it's actually picking up non-salon quality hair color. I know
Okay.
they said, when this first came, all the toilet paper went away and all the masks went away and all the gloves went away and the hand sanitizer went away. And now this next wave of things that are disappearing from shelves are hair products, most predominantly
Right.
hair color. And when you think about these hair colors, if I can get sciencey for like 2 seconds,
Please.
salon quality hair color, we are able as professionals to make those good decisions for you as to what your hair can stand. So we take in your hair density, your hair texture, your percentage of gray, your porosity, meaning how much water your hair can soak up or how much fluid your hair can soak up,
Hmm.
and your integrity. If you're highly damaged, that means you're super porous, meaning you're going to soak in a lot more color. We're not going to use an aggressive activator because there are many, many activators out there from 10 to 40.
Okay.
40
Okay.
is the big mama, and we use that to like get people blonde, and we only mix it with lighteners most of the time. So we make those decisions based on all of our knowledge so that you guys get the best quality and the best result out of it. When it comes to color that comes from a box off your shelf at the CVS, the Walmart, the Safeway, all of that, those are mixed with only one activator and one type of diluted pigment with ammonia in it. And what that does is the activator is so strong because it's meant to reach a broad audience. So it's like a blanket spray of, okay, this could work for this many people, but results may vary.
Okay. Right.
So where with us, our percentage of hydrogen peroxide really caps out around 13%.
Mm-hmm.
Most at-home hair color that is non-salon quality, their hydrogen peroxide percentage is around 20 to 25%. That's super strong. And that's what makes it so difficult to remove, because those hydrogen peroxide bubbles lift the hair cuticle and shove that pigment in. So
Right.
it's just further and further into the cuticle, making it more difficult to remove later.
Okay.
Whereas any line of salon quality products, we know it's maximum been used with 40 volume, and that's rare. So
Okay.
we know that the hair cuticle hasn't been penetrated enough to, one, do that much damage, and two, we would mitigate that damage when pulling it out because we know it's probably only maximum been used with 20 volume of permanent color and gray coverage.
Okay.
So we think about those things, and those boxes are just so aggressive. Do what you have to do. I'm not a hairdresser that shames. If you really need to do it to feel your best and just feel good while you're stuck at home, we'll figure it out. When we all get back, we'll figure it out. It's fine. But experiment and try other things first. If you're that person who said, well, maybe I would like to see my gray hair, especially if you're highlighted, like you, Shelley. So yes, you have highlights and you do get a little base color and things like that. The blonde will help that gray kind of come in a little bit more gracefully as opposed to someone who's maybe been coloring their hair a darker brown when that starts to come out. So you highlighted blondes out there definitely have it easier
Okay.
when
Well,
it
that's
comes
good
to
to know.
that grow out process, because those gray hairs are going to kind of look platinum, and that's fun, right? That's how I did it. When I grew out my gray, I went very blonde, just with highlights, so that that gray could sneak in, and I just kept getting haircuts until it was all gone.
I also have a question. So when thinking about my clientele, I have a very diverse clientele, and um, the hair texture that I feel like would be a difficult one to do by yourself would be African American hair. What would you recommend for that?
I would say it really depends. What you notice in people with that sort of hair texture is there are a lot of misconceptions about it, where people would think it would be much more difficult to deal with, and it's not. At its base, hair is hair.
Well, I always just think it's going to break because I've seen a couple mistakes before in different salons, and it just snaps off, and I'm like, oh, what happened?
It can be a bit more on the dry side,
Okay.
because if someone's hair is very, very tightly curly,
Hmm.
the oil stays closer to the scalp. It can't travel through the strands. And let's be honest, girls who have curly hair or guys who have curly hair are not going to run their hands through their hair at all. So even the disbursement that can come from just doing this doesn't happen with someone with curly hair, because
But
they'll
what if
break up
it's
those curls.
relaxed? I think it happened when the client had relaxer done
Mhm.
and then hair color.
Ah,
What's
that
the
gets,
story there? Yeah.
I think a lot of people choose one or the other. It's very difficult because the ammonia that's inside of a hair color
Hmm.
can almost counteract whatever relaxers in the hair, and it really all depends, because there's 2 or 3 different types out there, some more aggressive than others.
Okay.
So once you know what type of relaxer you use, you don't switch that, because you can't overlap the two or breakage will happen. You have to be careful with ammonias because breakage will happen. As an
Okay.
educator, when I was teaching students, I would always let them know if someone has had their hair relaxed, their hair color might not react the right way. So we
Okay.
have to be very careful with that. And we always stayed on the side of caution and used demi-permanent hair color
Okay.
because there's no ammonia there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what I had experienced. It must have been ammonia-based hair color,
Mhm.
and then it caused the breakage. So that's good to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it can be one of a million things that cause breakage in anyone. If that hair cuticle is compromised, there's no way around it.
Okay.
Those things can happen from even pulling your hair back too tightly. So,
Okay. All right. Well, so now if somebody is going to color their hair, can you give us some tips?
sure, absolutely. I would say the biggest tip I can give is stay calm and be organized. So,
Okay.
like I said, you might need a partner to help you see the back of your head,
Okay.
or maybe just color the parts that you can see and leave the rest undone so we can get in there and help you out with it later.
Okay.
But I would say, you know what, like I said, what you need a bowl, you need a brush, and you need a clip.
Okay.
So what we teach, even when we teach our students and our apprentices in the salon, is staying very organized and thinking of your hair and your skull in 4 boxes, 4 quadrants. So if you would take, it's kind of difficult to see, but you would give yourself a center part, which mine was already pretty center. Oh, that 2, okay. And you're going to work that all the way down the back of your head, like so. So I would start with one side, and you can even use a ponytail holder, all honesty, or clip. And my hair is very wiry, so this clip might not hold it. I have pretty strong-minded hair, just like that. And I would do one side all the way back and then do the other. So you would just dip right in and only paint as much as your growth is. Don't overlap, because you don't know what one color is going to react with the other, especially if you're not using the same one. Our existing clients, since we have color formulas, you can purchase a root color kit directly from the salon. It's under
Oh,
our little tab called shop. Emmanuel is doing them all, and you can either ship or pick up. But if your root color is already in the system, then we just give you the color, give you the activator, give you some gloves, a brush, and let you go about it. And then you're at least matching.
That's so nice. That's
So
so nice. Thank you for doing that.
yeah, get your color on your brush. Only paint the new growth. Leave the existing color as is. Paint, paint, paint all the way down the back of your head, and then release this side. Do the same thing. Paint, paint, paint until you've basically split your head in two with hair color.
Okay.
Once you do that, you'll then make another split perpendicular to at the front and back of your ear like this. Then you'll paint forward, paint, 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 do, and then grab your back there. So basically, using your hair color, you're isolating 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you could work one side and then the other, but the problem you would run into with that is processing time. So if you do one whole side first, one whole side second, you're already like 10 minutes behind of having them process at the same time.
Important.
So working, just divide it hemispherically, divide it this way as well, and make your outline. And then what we teach if you're doing gray coverage is work the area where you're the most gray first, which is typically these two front sections.
Okay.
So if you have that two front sections, you're kind of squared away right here. I'm just going to clip my hair back on that side. So I'm working right there, just in this guy. And it would be easiest for you in the mirror is to make a diagonal section right here. Paint and paint. And then another one, but they have to be pretty thin. You want no more than a 1/4 of an inch or so. Paint again, paint again. And you work that way in diagonals all the way to your front hairline. Cool? Do that on both sides, so then the areas that are the most gray in the front are getting the longest processing time, meaning they have a better ability to penetrate the hair cuticle and get that artificial color inside to mask that gray. That's pretty much it. And then process for, if you're using actual permanent color with 20 volume, you need to process it for 35 minutes. If you're using demi-permanent, no more than 20 minutes.
Now, if you have highlights, what do you do about that?
You don't.
No.
Yeah, because highlights are a very different beast. When we create highlights through balayage or through foiling, we are using powdered ammonia and activator. There's no pigment there at all. So all the powdered ammonia is doing is digesting the natural melanin of your hair.
Okay.
And anyone can slap on a root color. That's not difficult, but to be able to place dimension in the hair, that's another beast. And knowing what to look for in those levels of lift, it takes years of training your eye to know exactly what you're looking for, because you can't just process a lightener for 30 minutes and get that pretty pale yellow. You have to look for it and look for it. And some people's hair will lighten like that and other people's hair won't.
I did mine once out of frustration, and I have naturally very, very dark hair, and it looked like a fire engine was on my head. Like, it was like red and orange flames all over my head. I had to come running to Atelier Emmanuel to get it fixed.
Run to Nellie, she'll fix it.
Yeah.
So with that, stay away from the lighteners. If you can do anything, that is the one thing as a professional I will caution everyone to do. Stay away from the lighteners.
Okay.
Please leave that to us, because it does take so much training, and we have invested so much in ourselves, from how much it costs us to go to beauty school to how much we put into ourselves through our apprenticeship. Our apprenticeship at the salon is 18 months long. So those kids are earning money, but not the money they earn when they get behind the chair. So that, taking that, it's not a pay cut or anything like that, but they're not at their maximum earning capability at the beginning of their career, because they have to invest in themselves and they have to learn those things. And you don't come out of beauty school knowing how to lift people to a beautiful level 10 all the time. You don't. I mean, even as far as I'm into it, it's not easy. And there's this instinct, this gut instinct that trains over a lot of time. And then you just know, yep, that's it. Let's go shampoo. So stay away from the lighteners. I would I would encourage you blondes for a little bit. It's fun being blonde and it's fun being bright. And if the roots are very in vogue right now, they're very cool. Rock your roots, do whatever. But if the line starts to bother you, I would almost encourage the blondes to grab a light brown overtone.
Okay.
And be brown for a little bit.
Okay.
Because then you're not noticing the two-tone as much. You know what I mean? Everything, your roots talk to your ends, talk to your middle, so everything makes sense.
Okay.
And that might help you feel a little better. But when it comes to the highlights, there's really no good way to teach someone how to do that at home, because holding the comb, holding the foil, pulling it flat, doing all that, getting it in the right angle so you don't get these cross-hatch patterns all over your head. It's tough business. It's tough business for us to do it in the salon every day. So I can't imagine someone who hasn't had the extensive amounts of time training and all of the money we pay for classes to learn how to do this. I would say hairdressers spend more time learning corrective color and blonding than anything else.
I bet I can, yeah, because I'm a licensed esthetician and a licensed cosmetologist. I went to 2 different schools, and oh my gosh, I just told you what I did to my hair. And I have a license, but I would never do it to anyone else.
Listen, I have a license too, and I was everybody's favorite bathroom hairdresser for 20 years, but I never at home colored my own hair.
No.
I always did it to everyone else because I can see working here is very easy. Working here is not so easy, you know?
Oh gosh, even blow drying your hair is difficult sometimes.
I barely blow dried my hair today.
And if you're standing like this for too long and you're stressing out, it's very tiring. Like you just can't do it.
Sweaty.
Yeah, and then you're stressed on top of it. Yeah.
Stay calm and be organized. Because if you do get stressed and that body temperature starts to rise, that hair color is going to process faster.
Oh my gosh. You're right.
Yep.
You're right.
So if you start to like stress sweat and your body temperature rises when you get stressed like that, I know mine does, you can almost get too much lift even out of a permanent color that's depositing because your body temperature's risen.
Oh my goodness.
See, it's just the
There's a
things that
lot
you don't think about. That if I can have a moment of total frankness, a lot of people think that our career can be a throwaway career, and we decided to be hairdressers because we couldn't do or couldn't learn or couldn't be anything else, and that could be further from the truth. I know so many hairdressers who have master's degrees, but people are their passion, and helping people feel good is their passion. And
that's how I feel about skin. It's my passion. Like I love it so much.
So,
and the relationships that we build with people, I mean, you just don't build those anywhere else. I mean,
right. And that's what draws so many of us very, very smart people to this, is we love people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, getting that misconception of the dumb ditzy Gatsby hairdresser kind of out, and just asking for that respect of, hey, I'm the professional in this. Sure, right. There are home options. And like I said, I'm not going to shame you for that. But they can go wrong fast because you don't have the training. Right. I wouldn't walk into my doctor's office, into my lawyer's office, my dentist's office, and tell them how to do their jobs.
Right.
But I could count probably on one hand how many times people have tried to do that to me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So before you decide to do any of this, to anyone out there that happens to watch this, send a quick, sweet little message to your hairdresser first if you have their contact information. And if you don't have their phone number or their email because of like professional boundaries, I guarantee you can find them on Instagram or Facebook. Almost all of us have a professional page now so that we can be connected to you and maintain personal and professional boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In fact, I believe that I'll be putting this Zoom video on YouTube, so I will put your contact information down there in the description box, and maybe some of the things that you recommended I can put in there as well, like the overtone and the tool. I'll definitely put my link to my shop storefront. Mm-hmm. And yeah, well, is there anything I didn't ask that you think is important for people to know?
No, I think we've really covered all the bases. You know, the most important things are talk to your hairdresser first. even if it's just to see how they're doing. We're struggling. And it's,
I know.
a lot of us sure struggle financially. I'm thankfully one that isn't quite in that boat yet because my husband can work from home.
Right.
What we're struggling with is we need people. It's just, that's how we get our life, and that's how we get our reward out of our job every day. And it's how we get our creative juices flowing. If you lock a creative person in a room and tell them they can't create and do what they love anymore, we're shrinking. We're withering away over here because we can't do the thing that we devoted our lives to.
I know. I
Not that
know.
we're nurses and doctors and on the front line, that sort of life devotion or spiritual leaders or all that. But to some we are, right? And it's a very important little thing that we do.
In fact, I'm writing a blog post right now. I don't have the exact title for it, but I think it's going to be something like The Importance of Human Touch. And my blog is on the freckle.blog. And it's so important. It's essential to have touch. And I give you some tricks that you can use at home to mimic that if you happen to be living by yourself. So even a pet doesn't give you the same feeling that, like, especially a woman's touch, the type of like oxytocin and the dopamine and the different types of stress hormones, things like that, that are released. Well, not the stress hormones, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the blog post will be coming out in the next couple weeks, and I think it's just really important that people understand. And I totally miss my clients. Like, I can't wait to give them all hugs and like hear their stories and what happened with that job interview and what happened with that guy, did you break it off with him yet, and all that. Oops, that's my dog. I think that's our cue to wrap it up. But thank you so much, Cassie, and
Thanks
I'll
for
put your
having me,
contact
Shelley. I
information.
really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.